Welcome to our traditional service. And can you kindly turn to page 151? We're going to sing The Way Up Across Leads Me Home.
Please go home by the way of the cross. There's no other way but this. I shall ne'er get sight of the gates of life if the way of the cross I live. The way of the cross leads home. The way of the cross leads home. It is sweet to know as I onward go, the way of the cross leads home. Our feet go on in the blood-sprinkled way, the path that the Savior trod. If I were blind through the heights of life, but so is the home with God. The way of the cross leads home. The way of the cross leads home. It is sweet to know as I onward go, the way of the cross leads home. Shall I bid farewell to the way of the world, to walk in its nevermore? For the Lord says, come and you seek my home, where he waits at the open door. The way of the cross leads home. The way of the cross leads home. It is sweet to know as I onward go, the way of the cross leads home. Amen.
We'll continue singing with hymn number 142, There is a Fountain Filled with Blood.
There is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sin is once to pray now. And we're going to think about all those folks that God has laid on our heart, some that we found out about this morning. When in our service they passed out little tags, cards, for all of us who would participate and pray for people in all of our 12 campuses. We didn't know who the people were, we just took the names. I have mine on the table in the where we eat on our kitchen. We call it our kitchen table. It's really our family room, but I was thinking a moment ago, I need to get those names better in my own heart and trust the Lord to keep them uppermost in my heart this week. But I know there are people on all of our hearts tonight. And if you'd like to just give us a word, if you have someone you're praying for, would you do it right now? Just raise your hand and tell us. Doris?
I'll pray for one and a number of people in the class that need prayer.
Number of people in her class that need prayer. You know, she teaches a senior class. When you get our age, you know, there's a lot of aches and pains and a lot of things to pray about.
Amen.
And listen to that, amen. But we do want to remember, if you have a special request tonight, we want to remember whoever that is. If you want to mention their name, if it's, how many of you have silent requests? Let's see your hand. People you're praying for. Amen. Did you, Ms. Green, did you have someone?
Oh, yes. I'm praying for a friend, Cynthia, excuse me, who's having emotional and other problems, and so just praying for God's deliverance for her.
Amen.
And also a praise for our grandson that we've been praying for, who has had some difficulties, but he just got a part-time job, and so he's rejoicing, and we're happy for him.
Amen. Well, I tell you who I've had on my heart today. Right after that little girl fell out of the back of that school bus. Did you see that? Somebody opened the door and she fell out, and the driver was going down the highway, and right behind him was a first responder paramedic. And he got out of his car and picked that little girl up off the highway before anybody ran over. I tell you, it was a miracle. And all she got, Doc, was a broken jaw. She was in the hospital, and they were interviewing the guy who did it, who helped her, and he said, well, it's just all in a day's work for me. But he said, I sure was glad I was there. And I thought, boy, the Lord has something special for that little girl. You know, he just said that, can you imagine going down the highway, and it showed what he saw, because he had a dash cam. And it showed that baby just hanging on the door and finally hitting the pavement, and the bus just went off and left her. Finally, they realized that she wasn't there, I guess, and turned around, and this man had carried her over to the side and was ministering to her. And I thought about the story of the Good Samaritan. So I'd like to pray for that little girl tonight, too. Anyone else? Doc?
I'm praying for a friend named Jim Marshall, who's recovering from a brain bleed.
Oh, really? Anyone else? Yes, I'm sorry, Maria.
I'd like to pray for my son. Haven't heard from him in a while. That he would draw near to the Lord. I'd like to pray for a few ladies in our step group on Thursday. Some are going through separations. That God would just speak to both parties. In both of the ladies. And also a lot of depression in there.
Right. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, I want to pray. My mom's coming. She's on vacation. She went to visit my brother in North Carolina. She's coming back on Tuesday. So for faith, for good travels for her.
Amen.
Even though I'm getting a vacation from her.
Yeah. Amen. You know, I met Chris the first time, I think, over at Calvary Chapel. We went in session together when I was over there speaking at that church over, I always say the church over by the park on 117th Street. And I've always loved Chris. He's so transparent, you know, and he just opens his heart, and he's not afraid to ask people to pray for him. And I just wish we could all be like that. And I appreciate these few moments that we have. I know this maybe isn't what you're accustomed to, but I like to think that we're sort of having a Wednesday night prayer meeting service like we used to have for years and years as I was pastoring. And we would have the teacher and officers meeting where we prepared each department and each teacher for this next Sunday and get the lesson and work through any problems we might have. And then we'd come upstairs and we'd pray, and I'd give an invitation. And you know, just every 2 or 3 Wednesday nights, we'd have somebody come and give their heart to Jesus. So I said, well, now we're going to keep the water in the baptistry if we need it. We're going to baptize these folks. Anybody comes that, you know, that worked on the weekend and didn't have an opportunity, we'd baptize them. So a lot of people, that was the only service that they could attend, just like some here on Sunday night. This is the only service, preaching service, that they get to attend. And I'm so grateful. We have a young man here tonight that came with Chris. Introduce him again, Chris, would you?
Yeah, his name is Bobby.
Bobby, we're so glad you're here tonight, my friend. He was coming in as I was coming in tonight, and we met out here in the hall. And it's just such a blessing, man, to see new people all the time. You know, we need to pray for Russell, too. He's on his way back. He's been in a conference up in Philadelphia, speaking at a conference. Pardon me?
He's on his way back, or didn't he?
Russell.
Yeah, he's on his way up there, isn't he?
No, he's on his way back. He gets in tonight or tomorrow morning. Yep. Yeah, I got a text from him at the airport. He said, I believe that gate, whatever E52 is on there. I forgot how he put it. Is, what was it, in another county or something like that. I said, and I texted back, I said, buddy, do I remember well walking from concourse to concourse, and you show up, get out of your car, and your ticket has one thing, and they get in there and say, well, the gate's been changed. You know, and here I am trying to roll my briefcase and another carry-on and walk all those. That's the way I wore my knees out. I figured it out the other day. Going from concourse to concourse and going to Atlanta, trying to get on the escalator to go down to take the A train or the B train or whatever and get to wherever I had to be to get to a revival. See, I did that for almost 40 years. And I want you to know, my friend, that I know all about airports, and it's a whole lot worse today than it was when I was traveling. And I feel sorry for anybody that has to do that every day. Boy, boy, what a deal. Well, let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight. You've heard all these many requests for loved ones and family and for friends, Lord, for grandchildren. So many, Lord, that need your help tonight. And we know, Lord, that when you were here among us, walked among men, that you never passed up the blind or the lame or the hungry. Those, Lord, who heard you preach on the Sermon on the Mount there, on that great sermon that you shared with so many people. Caesarea Philippi and all those great passages that we read in the New Testament and all those marvelous messages that stir our hearts. And then the pastor reminded us this morning, Father, that when we walk in your presence and you're walking and doing exactly through us what you did when you were here,